Chocks and Chocolates and in between Chocoholic here for another video review. It's a special one, as they always are. It's the Quality Street Collisions, yes. So thanks so much Alan Lockhart for putting me onto these ones in the live the other day. Look back, episode 32 I think it was. Yeah, thanks so much Alan. Yeah, I did go out to Asda and found these. I don't know if they're available anywhere else, but Asda's got them in the sort of Christmas section, very small section at the moment, in my local Asda anyway. But they're there, yeah, look at that. And basically, as you might be able to guess, it's a sort of collision product, a combination of the purple one and the green triangle. So you can see it's a bit like when they mixed the Malteser teaser bar with their sort of Maltester bar or whatever it was, you know. Yeah, so to make their Malteser truffles. So you can see got a layer of runny caramel with a sort of hazelnut praline, or is it almond praline? I'm not sure. Yeah. Smooth hazelnuts, I think it's hazelnut praline, and then sort of hazelnut pieces as well. So rather than having a whole hazelnut, it does have the hazelnut chunks. So I think they're representing the two products here pretty well. I mean, it's not got a whole hazelnut, which you might, I don't know, might be disappointed by, but there you go. But it does seem to be a bit of a combination, maybe sort of, or a take on their other Quality Street bars that they've done recently. Yeah, so there we go. Well, at least to an extent anyway. But an interesting one. I'm quite glad that they've done it. It looks like definitely an all-star product. Would have perhaps preferred if it was maybe some of their other products. For me, these are not the most interesting chocolates from Quality Street. You know, I know they're popular, but they're not really. They're basically two of my least favourite ones, to be honest with you. I'm not really a big fan of hazelnuts and pralines and things like that. I'm a bit bored of. But I can eat these and I don't mind them, although I think when I was younger I used to spit out the nut basically back in the wrapper. But these days I'd probably eat it, although I could do without the nut, I must say. But so we'll see how it goes, but let's have a look here. What's it say on the back? We've got some big blurb here. No matter where we are in the world, at Quality Street we are working together to reduce our environmental impact. Caring for the world we share. Nestlé Cocoa Plan. Registered trademark. It's supporting, or registered something. It's supporting reforestation by planting over 2.5 million trees. Now I'd always look into this kind of thing if it's important to you. It does give you a website address there, NestléCocoaPlan.com. But basically, when you replant trees like this, apparently it's a really small percentage that actually survive. To be honest with you, yeah, and also they're not always indigenous trees or the ones that they should be planting, so we'll check into that. And also, it does actually take time for trees to actually establish themselves and be useful to the environment and to wildlife. So, for instance, birds that nest in holes in trees, well, those holes take time to appear. You know, they don't just appear overnight and things like this. So there's lots of issues with this kind of thing, and it's sometimes, you know, not necessarily a bad thing, but it can actually be bad for the environment and not always good depending on what is actually being done. So, you know, and you might be surprised by it. You might think, oh, well, they're going to be doing the right thing. You know, they're going to be clearly planting the right trees. They're going to be doing this. They're going to be doing that. But they don't necessarily. And you'd be surprised, actually. I'm not necessarily saying this is happening here, but I would certainly look into it. And I would certainly be sceptical. And I would certainly not expect that to actually be necessarily as positive as it sounds. Or even positive at all, really. Although you'd hope it would be. I'm not a tree expert or anything like that, or a reforestation expert. That's just what I've heard and read. So, you know, take that for what it is. But I'm quite sure that's the case. All right. So Nestlé Cocoa Plans, it says sustainably sourced cocoa. I would also look into that. I mean, what's sustainably sourced? You know, what is sustainable? What does it mean? It's not objective, basically. I've looked into this as well. And again, I'm not an expert, but, you know, from what I've seen, it's not always objective. It's subjective. I would look into it as well, basically. So all these claims, you know, I mean, I'm sure they're better than nothing. I'm sure they are better than nothing. I'm sure, I'm not certain, I'm sure they are. But whether they're as good as they sound, whether they're really making a difference, whether they're really... Anyway, look into it. Yeah, but anyway, let's get back to the bar. Well, you're here for the chocolate, not for politicky type things. All right, so milk chocolate with a caramel filling, 20%, and toasted hazelnut pieces, 4%. Milk chocolate contains cocoa slice, 25% minimum, milk slice, 14% minimum, and vegetable fats in addition to cocoa butter. So we've got the 400 grams, 545 calories. The chocolate products tend to be between 500 to 550 calories per 100 grams that I've noticed when reviewing chocolate on this channel. So this one's on the upper end of that. 33.3 grams of fat, 18.2 which is saturates, and per 3 pieces, which is probably one row, I think, if I'm feeling it, 183 calories, 11.2 grams of fat, 6.1 of which are saturates. So quite high calories for the whole bar here, 235 grams. Yeah, this whole thing. So look at that, it's over 1,000. I mean, basically, it's over 1,100 calories for the whole bar. If you bear in mind that per 100 grams, it's 545, so clearly it's over 2 times that. So yeah. So you can see, I've mentioned a few more reviews where they say you can't recycle at home have to recycle at store these things with large supermarkets with bags and stuff like that. But you can in Ireland. So you go look in Republic of Ireland, you can recycle these at home, but you can't in the UK. So why is that? Why can't you recycle this at home? I mean, I'm going on a bit about various environmental things, but why can't you recycle this at home? Why can you in the Republic of Ireland and you can't in the UK? You know, you should be able to recycle at home. Clearly people will recycle more if they can do it at home, won't they? You know what I mean? It's hard enough people taking the bags that they've got, you know, back to the supermarkets and not throwing them away. You know what I mean? So, all right. 235 gram bars, as I mentioned, super vegetarians, Nestlé. Right, so stuff like that. And it's even got the throw in the bin symbol there. I mean, you know, why anyway. All right, so ingredients, what have we got? Anything of interest other than what we know of? Vegetable fat, so it's got palm fat in there. So I mean, it's got palm fat in there, but it claims to be sustainable. I mean, sustainable source cocoa, but what about the palm? You know, what about that? I mean, that's not good for the environment. So I don't know. All right. I mean, yeah. Anyway, okay. We've already gone about that. I think I've made my point. But yes, hazelnut paste. There's any percentages in there? I think the percentages are up there that we spoke about, haven't we? I think I mentioned those before. Milk chocolate caramel filling 20%. Toasted hazelnut pieces 4%. So basically 24%. So that's yeah. So there's 76% of other stuff in there. Milk chocolate says co-size 20% minimum. No size 40% minimum. Okay, so there we go. So nothing is much more to say really. So I think we just yeah, it's a final look. It does look pretty nice. It does look like a Quality Street there, I guess you'd say. It's definitely a Quality Street product. There's been some. I mean, I basically, you know, if something's not in the Quality Street tin, I believe it's not a Quality Street product. And these two things are in the Quality Street tin. So this is based on Quality Street. I think I'm happy for that to be labelled as Quality Street. Oh yeah, and Rainforest Alliance is on there as well. I think it can possibly be mentioned with the cocoa plant. Rainforest Alliance source cocoa, presumably, possibly mentioned elsewhere. All right, well, nothing much more to say other than the fact there's a bit of a flourish there, but it's still a relatively big bar. Don't really need these flourishes, but nonetheless they are there. It actually looks better without them. But yeah, I think we just need to move stuff down, give them open, so let's do it. Okay then everyone, I'm going to give these Quality Street collisions. Yes, basically a mix of, a collision of the purple one. So I can show you it. So I can't work out my left and right here for some reason. It's reversed in the camera. The purple one and the, yes, the green triangle there. So yeah, interesting. So you can clearly see what it's about. It's got the sort of caramel on top with the, yes, the hazelnut praline underneath and then the chopped hazelnuts underneath. So it doesn't have whole hazelnuts in, which might be a shame for some. I think Purple One fans probably prefer whole hazelnut, although myself, I do prefer chopped hazelnuts. So there we go. But let's let's just get into it, give it an open. So Terry Quinn have done about 1,050 reviews, more or less, believe it or not. I'm not sure exactly how much. YouTube doesn't tell me exactly now without looking specifically. So it's around that, so just as like 1.1k reviews, which I assume is rounded up. So could be over 1,050. So if you like this review, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already. In the top right hand corner, I've got a link to place of all my other reviews, what's some of the latest ones, such as perhaps other Quality Street ones, things like this, other caramel ones. Yeah, so after you've liked, subscribe, go check this out. Hope you enjoyed this too. So quite a big bar here. Before I forget, I'm just going to measure the length of this. You see lots of hazelnut chunks in there, kind of chopped hazelnut pieces, so it's full of those. 23 centimetres basically. I think I might just. Usually I use the calipers for this, but I might just use the measuring stick instead. Yeah, about 7.9 centimetres there across. Tell you what, I've got the calipers, why not? Let's 7.9 we said, it's, there we go, 0, wasn't a second ago. 7.9, is it 7.9 with these? Yes, look at that, pretty accurate. I might do the height with this, it's a bit melty today. Look at that, yes, looks quite nice, doesn't it? Not too bad. So you just have to be careful about meltage. Let's just give it a bit of a measure. So between the chunks, about 7mm height, there's a bit of a wave affair in it, 1.5 almost. That's at the top of the wave that's going on. So it looks pretty good, doesn't it? It looks quite nice. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Well, that's 3 chunks is your, I mean, just 3 of these chunks. I mean, that was, you know, what did it say? quite calorie, which was about 200 calories. So you could easily go through these. What does it say there? Per 3 pieces, 3 chunks, 183 calories, 11.2 grams of fat, 6.1 of which are saturates. Yeah, so quite calorific these, so bear that in mind for sure. Alright, so let's give a bit of a snap. I might move the other blocks away, and why not? Okay, you can see there, that's what we're up against. Lots of chopped hazelnuts. You could see underneath there's loads of them there. The big bar before. Just bring it back, you could see the fingerprints on it now. But yeah, lots of chopped hazelnuts. Definitely full of those, which is good. I like that. Alright, so let's give one a bit of a chop. Got my knife here, give it a chop down the centre. I might chop it from the side, you know, because it squishes it down if you do it in a different way. Whereas it will just squish it from the side. So there you go. So you can see nice runny caramel centre. I think this bit here is actually better. Nice runny caramel with the praline centre there as well. Squish it a bit, you can see that caramel definitely runny. A nice thick chocolate as well. That's pretty good. That's pretty nice. Chopped hazelnuts underneath, I think it's not bad. Doesn't look like the actual product on the front. Probably not, but let's have a look. Where has it gone? It's not exactly the same, but it's probably close enough. Obviously a beautified version on the right. I think that's acceptable. Portions of the chopped hazelnut pieces are perhaps not quite the same. Basically not as tall as it looks like it should be taller with more thicker layers, but it's not bad. I think it's acceptable. I mean, say the layers probably are about the same actually. If you look at the bottom chunk, the one that's on the right, they probably are about the same. I think that's okay actually. I'm happy with that. Yeah, alright, well, if we need to find out if it tastes as good as it looks, slip yourself up, give it a taste. Okay then everyone, going to give this Quality Street Collisions. Yes, basically a collision or a combination of the purple one and the green triangle, as you can see there, yeah, meld into one bar. So basically it's a runny caramel with hazelnut praline and then sort of chopped hazelnuts underneath to represent basically the whole hazelnut. Obviously the hazelnut praline from green triangle and the caramel from the purple one there. So the only thing missing perhaps you would say is a whole hazelnut, but I think that's maybe fair enough. I prefer chopped hazelnuts, I must say, so I'm not displeased by that, but maybe purple one fans might be a bit upset. But yeah, alright, we've got a segment here. Yeah, 3 of these is 183 calories, I think it said it was, which is pretty crazy. 183 calories, so it's 61 calories basically per chunk. So alright, let's give it a go. Let's see if it's worth those calories. Interesting. It's not bad actually. It's not bad. I don't feel like I'm really getting either of those products basically. I don't feel like I'm getting the green triangle. And I don't think I'm tasting the purple one either. It's but nonetheless, it tastes nice. It is a combination of the two, so maybe we'd expect it to meld into something else. And I think it kind of does that in possibly a good way. I feel like it does taste, for me, those two chocolates are not really my favourites in Quality Street. They're pretty bland to me. I'm not a big fan of whole hazelnuts. I like the caramel. And the green triangle is okay, but I don't know, I find it a bit boring. I find those two chocolates a bit not the best. Basically one of them because of the whole hazelnut and the other one because it's just a bit bland, I think. But combined like this, I think they work alright. I'm going to just have half something here. You can see it's very runny, the caramel there. Just got it stuck on my finger, if it focuses in. There's a runny caramel. I mean that combined with the hazelnut praline, it just mixes quite well actually. It merges together. It's like a sort of sweet hazelnut praline actually, and I think that works quite well. I quite like that. I really like the weak point for me, and again it's possibly just my preference, is the chopped hazelnuts. I'm not really a big fan. They don't do much for me, the chopped hazelnuts generally. Sometimes it can be quite nice if they're flavoured in a certain way. I have had some Phaser chocolate bars from Finland that have been very nice. I've had some Ritter Sports that flavour the chopped hazelnuts nicely. These are just just regular chopped hazelnuts. I would say flavourless. For me, they taste quite flavourless. I'm sure there's a hazelnut flavour there, but for me that doesn't really taste so much. So that for me is the weak spot. I'd prefer if it was chopped biscuit pieces or crunchy pieces or flavoured hazelnut pieces, something a bit more exciting. But I get that hazelnut fans will like that. So, but for me, it's the weak part. I think the rest of it's quite nice actually. I feel like it's not bad. I don't think it's going to blow your socks off though. I feel like it tastes. I think the key point for it is the sort of merging of the caramel, the runny caramel, with the hazelnut praline, because the hazelnut praline is quite sweet anyway, and mixed with that sort of. The hazelnut praline's got quite a nice consistency, and then mixed with the sort of the caramel as you're eating it, it actually sort of, I don't know, it combines quite well actually. It's something quite nice about it, and I think that's what makes the product, to be honest with you. And caramel generally is quite nice actually. I would say though, despite the fact that I'm complaining about the chopped hazelnuts, you can't taste much of them. They're not that prevalent, even though there was loads of them. And the bottom of the chocolate bar, you did see quite a lot of them. Overall in the bar, you could see quite a lot underneath. But I think when actually broken down into the little segments, even though there's quite a lot there, they don't really, they get a bit lost basically. But for me, I'm actually quite pleased about that. I feel like those are the weak parts of the product for myself. But obviously, if you are like of chopped hazelnuts, you might be a bit disappointed, and you might actually want a whole hazelnut. I think there's a sort of Milka and Cadbury one doing the equivalent. Big taste bar of a whole hazelnut and caramel and things like this. And that's probably the bar for you, to be honest with you, because that does, I would say, do this maybe slightly better, although it doesn't have the sort of hazelnut praline in there. But I don't know. I think that might be the chocolate product for you. But this does offer something else. As I say, that mix of hazelnut praline and the caramel is what does it for me actually. But I think as a result of that, you don't really get. It doesn't really taste. I think if you did eat a purple one and a green triangle together, I don't know whether it would taste like this, and I think you probably would prefer to do that, really, rather than have this. But it gives you something, not too dissimilar. But I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't mind it, but I feel like it's not really what you'd expect. I feel like it's not really. I don't know. It's based on those things rather than really actually, giving you the same experience as if you ate both at the same time. Really. Although obviously I've not got them side by side. I'm not doing that to give you that for sure, but I can tell you I'm quite sure that is the case. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to make of it then. Really, it's not bad in its own right. It's not a bad product. It's not going to blow your socks off. The chocolate's okay. The main thing about it, as I say, is the fact that the caramel and the hazelnut praline mixed together quite nicely, actually. And I think that's where it's at with this. But I feel like other than that, there's not loads going on. The chocolate's not great. The chopped hazelnuts, not overly present, and when they are present, for me, they don't do much. But if you do like that kind of thing, there's not really enough of them. I don't think they get lost a bit in it. So I don't know. It's all right. It's okay product. I think the average chocolate product is around a 3 out of 5. And I don't mean like your sort of run-of-the-mill chocolate. I mean like just a quite nice chocolate product is about 3 out of 5. You'd expect most chocolate to taste nice. I feel like this one's got a bit more going for it than that because it's got a load of different fillings in there and it's quite nice. It works quite well. But I feel like it's really not greater than the sum of its parts. You know what I mean? I really don't feel like. I don't feel like there's. I don't know. It's a weird one. I feel like the caramel and hazelnut praline don't really combine to give you something that's better than either of them separate. I mean, for me, I'm not a massive fan of either of the chocolates. But I don't feel like I needed them combined. You know what I mean? To give me something better. I feel like it just mixes them both together and perhaps doesn't really give me either one thing or another and doesn't give me anything better than either of them combined. Maybe slightly, because I'm not a massive fan of either of them. But, what I'm getting at, I guess, is that I don't think it's really a collision of two products that gives you anything that distinct. But they do work well together. So obviously, if you did it in the same way with an orange cream and a raspberry cream or something, mix those together. Or is it strawberry having quality street? I'm not sure. But either way, you know what I mean. Mix those together so they're on top of each other. They probably wouldn't complement each other well. Unless you did them in both different segments, so you can enjoy one after the other. Be like the sort of Cadbury snack bar from Cadbury Australia, or the 5 cents back in the day, that kind of thing. But yes, I feel as a single segment they do combine quite well together. But I don't know. I feel like maybe I would just prefer a chocolate bar with one segment being the purple one and another segment being the green triangle. And I think for me, actually, I think that would cover all bases and be what people would want really, rather than a bar that combines them both in this respect. So. Yeah, so I don't know. Swings and roundabouts. It's definitely better than an average chocolate bar because it's got quite a lot going on in it. But I don't think it's that. I don't know. It's just not as good as some of its parts. It doesn't quite. I don't know. It's okay, but it's. I don't know. I don't feel like it's. I wouldn't say it's pointless, but I feel like, as I say, just having them one chunk of the green triangle, one chunk of the purple one would work the same, if not better. So. Yeah, so I think for me, I don't know, I can't, it's almost a 4 out of 5, but because of those detriments, because of the fact that, as I say, I think you'd just be better off with a bar like, having one segment as being the purple one and one as the green triangle. And I think the fact that it doesn't really have whole hazelnuts in there, which I think purple one fans would be expecting. I do prefer chopped hazelnuts myself, but as I say, and even then they're kind of lost in the bar. So I don't know, so I think for me it's a 3.5 out of 5, which is quite low for what it is, but I feel like it probably is about right, to be honest with you. Yeah, it's not bad though, but nothing. It's just not better than that. Alright guys, so if you enjoyed that review, follow me on Twitter and Instagram, check out the YouTube main program and the Discord server, links in the description for that. And thanks again to Alan Lockhart for pointing this one out to me. Thanks so much again for watching guys, take care, and have a great day, and I'll see you next time.